Today we will be discussing a game with stunning visuals, awesome sound design, and an absolute banger of a soundtrack, but that does not quite hit the mark for me. My name is Zoresh, and today I'll be talking about my first few hours in Minecraft's unique take on strategy, Minecraft Legends. Minecraft Legends was released on April 18th, 2022 and is a brand new IP in the ever so successful Minecraft universe. It was developed, obviously, by Mojang Studios. We are being summoned by 3 mysterious entities to help them save their overworld from an invasion.
We didn't prepare the creatures of our world for this day, but we believe you can.
That's why we called upon you. If there is any hope, it's you.
We agreed to help and find ourselves in a fate lands where our adventure truly begins. The core gameplay loop consists of finding specific resources in their respective biomes, unlocking upgrades and gathering minions to join your army to fight off the piglin menace. The game also features a day and night cycle as an important part of your strategy. When you check your map, you will get notified of where the piglins are planning to attack, and you will basically have the entire day cycle to prepare for nightfall. You can do this in multiple ways, but in general, this is mostly what I did. And I started fortifying as much as I was able to with the things that I had unlocked at the time. These were mostly walls and archery towers at the start, but as you progress, you can unlock other types of more strategic siege equipment. This is done by building what is called improvements around the Fountain of Fate, which is where you will find yourself once you start your game. Should you fail to defend a targeted location, it will be occupied by piglin forces until you choose to liberate it again. This also means you will be unable to gather resources from the village chest, which is where you can gather a lot of resources from that you don't have to go out to collect yourself. You can also take matters in your own hands and use the day cycle to start raiding the different piglin areas yourself, using your own minions and redstone siege equipment. After your first few nights, there will be a cinematic showing you that your allies' home base are under attack, and you can choose to help them out to unlock spawning them in your own overworld mob army.
What? What happened?
That looks like a piece of a piglin banner. Skeleton's courage has provoked the wrath of the piglins.
Not just the skeletons. Revenge has come to all of our friends, I am afraid.
Is this the price of their bravery?
You can recruit creepers, zombies, and skeletons to your cause, all the mobs that we know and love, and each has their own specific advantage. Creepers are obviously great for damaging enemy buildings, zombies are doing a great job at keeping the piglins occupied, and skeletons are a very feisty ranged combatant.
The wall is breached! Keep it...
If the magic of this portal is not stopped, night will last forever.
Other allies you can recruit are members of the First, golems with specific abilities that won't take up an army slot, because at the start you will only have a maximum amount of 20 members in your army slots. There are 4 of them in total for you to find. We have the First of Stone, which hurls large boulders at piglins. We have the First of Oak, who uses ranged attacks, the First of Brick, who creates a shield that protects allies and allied buildings. We also have the First of Diorite. He spawns in extra golems for you to be helped out during combat. You'll have to build an improvement at the Well of Fate in order to unlock the ability to awake them though. Randomly, when you are walking around and exploring the world, you will find these yellow question marks, which will either lead you to new mounts or other points of interest. Our off powers and the members of the First.
You've discovered one of our oldest friends. You two will get along nicely. Come back to the well and we'll teach you a song to wake that golem up.
The Towers of Powers, and these are big towers that are spread all across the world from which you can take the core in order to add them to your arsenal. Stun towers periodically stuns piglins. Blast towers heavily damage the enemy, and frost towers slows and freezes enemy minions.
Well, this old frost tower's still standing strong.
While doing a little damage in the process.
I'm trying to remember what I built these for.
You'll also need to build an improvement to unlock these as well.
I don't think that was what I had in mind, but it'll do.
Speaking of things you can find out in the world, you can also locate new mounts in specific biomes. They also have specific abilities. For example, we have the regal tigers. They are the fastest mount of all of them.
Regal tigers are the fastest things on four paws. Just what you need to hunt those piglins down.
We have brilliant beetles, which can climb pretty much every surface.
These brilliant beetles can climb anything. There's nowhere the piglins can hide from you now.
And we also have big beaks who sort of fly, but not really. They jump really high and then slowly float down. For new mounts to unlock, you will just need to find them in the world, and these do not need an improvement to be built. And that about sums up most of the gameplay mechanics I've experienced in my first few hours in this game. While some of these are actually very cool, they weren't quite enough to keep me engaged in the world. Let's talk about the design a little bit. I'll start by saying I absolutely love the way this game looks. It all begins with the opening cinematic and meeting the three mysterious entities: action, foresight, and knowledge. Personally, I think the most interesting one out of them three is power. It's this really tough looking golem that is holding a tiny flower and that has the most adorable voice that I have ever heard on a minion that looks like that. Found a little hard to get used to at the start, since both power and knowledge have voices that I personally wouldn't link to their characters, but somehow it sort of works. Foresight, however, is, in my personal opinion, the least interesting of the trio. A bit too much of a stereotype. After meeting the crew and heading through the portal to enter the Overworld, which is where our adventure begins, the entire world opens up for you. There are a few mandatory quests you have to do, but afterwards you are free to tackle the piglin threat however you want. Which brings me to my next point, our enemy forces. Forget everything you think you might know about the Nether and its inhabitants, because Legends blows it up 1,000-fold. There are 3 different hordes of piglins, each with their respective leaders in the Nether, and our main enemies for most of the Legends campaign. We have the Horde of the Bastion, which is led by the Unbreakable. We have the Horde of the Spore, which is led by the Devourer. And last but not least, we have the Horde of the Hunt, led by the Beast. We introduced to these characters by cinematics after destroying their horde-specific bases. And even though they don't speak much, their unique personality traits get shown off very well during these very well crafted animation scenes. All of the cinematics are extremely well done and progress most of their main storyline, and all I could think when seeing most of these was that I'd like to see a lot more of this stuff in the actual Minecraft Nether as well, but it does give more context to things like bastions. While the environments in the cinematics look great, we should also mention the actual world in the game as well, which looks stunning. It is a completely different art style than the original game, but I think it works very well. I briefly mentioned the day and night cycle before, since it plays such a vital role in this game, but from a visual perspective it is also great. There's different particle effects, dynamic weather conditions, a totally different ambience, and both the day and night look very different from each other, each with their own mysterious charm. Animations are in general amazing, and collision is an actual thing. This is important. All of the animals and monsters look lively and have specific animation for most of the actions they perform, which makes it easy to distinguish the different types, and it is nice to see them in a new light from the original game. They managed to make the different types of biomes and landscape look as natural as possible for the universe it is based in, which is obviously the pixel-generated world that we are fallen in love with. And these are all home to biome-specific animals and creatures. You will not be able to find certain animals in every type of biome. You will have to go explore out in the world to find specific creatures and animals. Most of the overworld mobs we know and love have been given an actual home as well. That seems like they're split in different communities that actually work out. The entire visual design of Legends has a totally different feel and look to the original game, but I don't necessarily think that is a bad thing. It further differentiates and distinguishes itself in the ever-expanding Minecraft universe. Now let's talk about the sound design. Sound is usually something Mojang does justice, and the same applies here. The OST is amazing and beautifully crafted. Every region or environment you set foot in has ambience matching it, and there are different sound effects for pretty much everything. To sum it all up, the sound design is actually pretty well done. In the end, Minecraft Legends is a unique take on the strategy genre, and it delivers a totally different experience from the original game. Both the visuals and the sound design are absolutely well done. Characters and cutscenes are also a work of art, but sadly for me personally, it was not quite enough to keep me engaged in the world and its inhabitants to continue playing after my first few hours. I felt like a lot of the gameplay got repetitive really quickly, and the overall difficulty is guided more towards a younger audience, which is what I think most of the Minecraft universe strives towards, which is perfectly fine. Then again, this is my personal opinion, and you are obviously entitled to your own. At the time of this video, I have spent a little over 6 hours in Minecraft Legends, and I feel like I personally experienced most of what the game has to offer, at least in its single-player campaign. It's a fun experience to be had if you are a Minecraft fan in general, but I feel like the lifespan of this game will be on the multiplayer side of things or on custom campaigns. Who knows, I might revisit this game in the future, but as of right now, these are my personal thoughts on my own adventure in Minecraft Legends.